dear friends. Have you ever heard the name Petronius Maximus? If not, you are about to embark on a journey through my life, a tale woven with threads of ambition, tragedy, and fleeting triumphs. I am Flavius Ancius Petronius Maximus, born into an aristocratic family in the heart of Rome. My father, Aetius Probus, was a respected senator, and from him, I inherited not only wealth and status but also a keen political mind. My mother, however, remains a shadowy figure in my memories, her presence overshadowed by the patriarchal dominance of my upbringing. I was born in the year 396 AD, a time when the Roman Empire was a vast and crumbling entity, struggling to hold itself together against internal strife and external threats. As a young boy, I was educated by the finest tutors in Rome, immersed in the rich tapestry of Roman literature, history, and philosophy. My early life was one of privilege and comfort, yet it was also marked by loss. The death of much of my family at an early age left a void that would later fuel my relentless pursuit of power. My childhood days were spent roaming the grand halls of our villa, absorbing the wisdom of scholars, and dreaming of the future. Little did I know that these dreams would be shaped by the turbulent times that lay ahead. In those days, Rome was a city of splendor and decay, its grandeur marred by political corruption and military decline. I witnessed the slow unraveling of an empire that once stood invincible. These experiences instilled in me a desire to restore Rome to its former glory, a desire that would drive me to seize power when the opportunity arose. But the path to power is fraught with peril. My ascent would be marked by betrayal, murder, and the constant threat of enemies both seen and unseen. Yet, despite these challenges, I remained resolute. My story is one of ambition and survival, of fleeting triumphs and inevitable downfall. Join me as we delve deeper into the chapters of my life. From my ascension to the throne to the tragic end that awaited me, each part of my journey reveals the complexities and contradictions of a man who dared to dream of greatness in a world teetering on the brink of collapse. In the next part, we will explore my rise to power, a tale of cunning and boldness that would change the course of Roman history. Stay with me, for the story of Petronius Maximus is just beginning. The year was 455 AD, a time of great uncertainty and upheaval. The Roman Empire was a shadow of its former self, besieged by enemies on all fronts and plagued by internal strife. It was in this turbulent atmosphere that I, Petronius Maximus, made my move to seize the throne. My path to power was neither straightforward nor honorable. I had served as the prefect of Rome in 420 and had twice held the esteemed position of consul. These roles allowed me to amass influence and connections within the highest circles of Roman politics. But mere titles were not enough. I needed to eliminate my rivals to secure my position. One of the most formidable obstacles in my path was the powerful patrician Aetius, a man who held the reins of the Western Roman Empire's military might. Aetius was a bitter rival, and I knew that as long as he lived, my ambitions would remain unfulfilled. In 454, I, along with the eunuch Heraclius, orchestrated his assassination. Aetius was struck down in the very presence of Emperor Valentinian III, an act that sent shockwaves through the empire. The removal of Aetius was only the beginning. The following year, in a bold and ruthless maneuver, I arranged for the murder of Valentinian III himself. With the emperor gone, I seized the throne the very next day, declaring myself the new ruler of the Western Roman Empire. Proclaiming myself emperor was one thing, securing my rule was another. To consolidate my power, I immediately forced Valentinian's widow, Eudoxia, to marry me. This union was not born of love but of political necessity. Eudoxia, however, was no willing participant in my schemes. Her resentment simmered beneath the surface, and she began to plot her revenge. Even as I solidified my rule in Rome, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. A Vandal fleet, possibly invited by the vengeful Eudoxia, was approaching the city. The threat was imminent, and I knew that my position was precarious. In the face of this danger, my resolve wavered. My reign, though marked by boldness and ambition, was destined to be short-lived. As the Vandal threat loomed larger, I realized that my grip on power was slipping. In a desperate bid to escape the impending chaos, I fled the city. But my attempt to save myself would end in a brutal and tragic manner. In the next part, we will delve into the details of my reign, exploring the decisions and policies that defined my brief time as emperor. From military campaigns to administrative reforms, my efforts to restore Rome's glory were met with both success and failure. Join me as we navigate the highs and lows of my rule. My ascension to the throne was marked by ambition and cunning, but the challenges of ruling the Western Roman Empire soon proved overwhelming. The year was 455 AD, and my reign was off to a turbulent start. The Roman Empire was a colossal entity, but its glory days were long past, and I inherited a realm besieged by enemies and weakened by internal decay. The first and most immediate threat came from the Vandals. Led by King Genseric, their fleet was approaching Rome, and the city was ill-prepared to defend itself. Despite the urgency of the situation, I found myself grappling with internal discontent and the legacy of my ruthless rise to power. My forced marriage to Empress Eudoxia had only fueled resentment within the imperial court, and whispers of betrayal echoed through the palace halls. In these dire times, I sought to bolster Rome's defenses and secure loyalty of my generals. Yet, my efforts were hampered by the very nature of the empire's decline. The legions, once the pride of Rome, were now a shadow of their former selves, spread thin and demoralized by constant warfare and political infighting. One of my most pressing concerns was the memory of Aetius, whose assassination had cleared my path to the throne but left a power vacuum that I struggled to fill. Aetius had been a military genius, and his death deprived Rome of its most capable defender. As I tried to rally the remaining forces, I realized the full extent of his influence and the vacuum left by his absence. The soldiers' loyalty was divided, and many still mourned their former commander, viewing me with suspicion and mistrust. Despite these challenges, I attempted to implement reforms aimed at stabilizing the empire. I sought to streamline the administration, curtailing the excesses and corruption that had plagued Rome for years. My efforts to rein in the powerful aristocracy and restore a semblance of order were met with resistance, as the entrenched elites clung to their privileges and undermined my authority at every turn. In the realm of religion, I supported the Christian Church, hoping to unify the empire under a single faith. However, religious divisions ran deep, and my policies only served to further alienate the pagan population, exacerbating the social and cultural decline that was already eroding the fabric of Roman society. As the days turned into weeks, the Vandal threat grew ever more imminent. In a desperate bid to stave off the invaders, I considered negotiating with Genseric, hoping to buy time and perhaps even forge an alliance. But my plans were thwarted by the vengeful Empress Eudoxia, who, unbeknownst to me, had been in contact with the Vandals. She invited them to sack the city, seeking retribution for the murder of her husband and my usurpation of the throne. The day of reckoning arrived on May 31st, 455. As the Vandals breached the walls of Rome, panic and chaos ensued. Realizing the futility of resistance, I attempted to flee the city. However, my escape was short-lived. Caught by the enraged Roman populace, I was torn limb from limb in a brutal act of vengeance. In the next part, we will delve into the details of my untimely death and the immediate aftermath of the Vandal sack of Rome. The brutal end to my reign marked the beginning of the end for the Western Roman Empire, setting the stage for its eventual collapse. Join me as we explore the final chapter of my life and the legacy I left behind. The city of Rome was in chaos on May 31st, 455 AD. The Vandal fleet had arrived, their ships crowding the Tiber River, their warriors preparing to storm the Eternal City. As the walls of Rome were breached and the streets filled with panic, I, Petronius Maximus, knew that my reign had come to a violent and abrupt end. My final hours were a blur of desperation and fear. The once loyal soldiers of Rome, demoralized and leaderless, scattered in disarray. The citizens, terrified by the approaching Vandal horde, rioted in the streets, their cries mingling with the clashing of swords and the roar of flames. The grandeur of the empire seemed to crumble before my eyes, and with it, my dreams of restoring Rome to its former glory. In a bid to save myself, I decided to flee the city. Disguised and desperate, I made my way through the chaos, hoping to escape the wrath of both the invaders and the angry populace. However, my escape was not to be. I was recognized and captured by a mob of enraged Romans who saw me not as their emperor, but as a coward and a usurper. As the mob closed in, I felt the full weight of my actions bearing down on me. The assassination of Aetius, the murder of Valentinian III, and the forced marriage to Aetius, all these acts of ambition and treachery had led me to this moment. The people, incited by their fury and the imminent destruction of their city, took their revenge with a savagery that mirrored the brutality of my own rise to power. In a grisly scene, I was torn limb from limb by the very citizens I had sought to rule. My death was not a noble one, it was a testament to the chaos and violence that had engulfed Rome. As my life ebbed away, I wondered if there was any redemption for a man who had climbed to power over the bodies of his enemies. The aftermath of my death was equally tragic. The Vandals, led by King Genseric, sacked Rome with impunity. For 14 days, they looted the city, stripping it of its treasures and taking countless captives, including Empress Aetius and her daughters. The once mighty Rome lay in ruins, a symbol of the empire's decline and the futility of my brief and ill-fated reign. In the next part, we will explore the legacy I left behind. My time as emperor was brief, but the impact of my actions and the events of 455 AD reverberated through history. Join me as we examine how history has judged Petronius Maximus and the lasting consequences of my tumultuous rule. The sun had set on my reign, and with it, the final remnants of my ambition. Yet, as I look back from the annals of history, I wonder about the legacy I left behind. The name Petronius Maximus might be synonymous with tragedy and failure, but every story, even one as brief and tumultuous as mine, leaves ripples through time. The immediate aftermath of my death was devastating. The sack of Rome by the Vandals marked one of the darkest chapters in the city's storied history. For 14 days, Genseric's forces plundered and destroyed, leaving a scar on the city that would take generations to heal. Empress Aetius and her daughters were taken captive, and the treasures of Rome were scattered across the Mediterranean, lost to the winds of time. In the grand tapestry of history, my reign might seem like a minor thread, easily overlooked amid the vast expanse of the Roman Empire's rise and fall. However, the events of 455 AD were pivotal. They underscored the fragility of the Western Roman Empire and highlighted the internal decay that had set in long before my ascent to the throne. The inability to defend Rome from the Vandals was a stark reminder of the empire's weakened state and the consequences of political infighting and ambition. As the years passed, historians would look back on my time with a mixture of pity and disdain. I was often depicted as a symbol of the empire's decline, a man who grasped for power without the strength to wield it. My forced marriage to Aetius and the assassination of Aetius were seen as acts of desperation, reflecting the broader instability of the period. Yet, history is never black and white. My brief reign also served as a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked ambition and the importance of unity and strong leadership. The downfall of Petronius Maximus became a lesson for future generations, a reminder that the fate of an empire could hinge on the actions of a single individual. As the Western Roman Empire continued to crumble, eventually falling in 476 AD, the echoes of my reign persisted. The sack of Rome in 455 AD was not the end, but a harbinger of the empire's ultimate demise. The chaos and destruction that followed my death highlighted the urgent need for reform and stability, needs that, tragically, were never fully met. In the next part, we will conclude our journey with a reflection on the significance of my story and its place in the broader narrative of Roman history. We will also explore the enduring fascination with the Roman Empire, from ancient coin collecting to the modern-day Renaissance spirit, a philosophy that seeks to learn from the past to build a better future. Join me as we wrap up this tale and look forward to new horizons. As we reach the conclusion of my story, I hope you've gained a deeper understanding of who I was. Petronius Maximus, a man of ambition, driven by circumstances and desires, yet ultimately doomed by the very forces I sought to control. My brief reign might be seen as a failure, but it serves as a potent reminder of the complexities and fragilities of power. Reflecting on my legacy, it's clear that my actions and the events of my time left a lasting impact on the Roman Empire. The sack of Rome by the Vandals not only marked a significant blow to the city's prestige but also symbolized the deeper issues plaguing the empire. The internal strife, political machinations, and weakened military defenses all contributed to the eventual fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. But my story doesn't end with my death. The fascination with Rome and its emperors endures to this day. Ancient Rome continues to captivate the imaginations of historians, scholars, and enthusiasts. The study of Rome's rise and fall offers valuable lessons about leadership, governance, and the cyclical nature of history. For those who seek to connect with this rich history, there are many ways to immerse oneself in the world of ancient Rome. Visiting historical sites such as the Colosseum, the Roman Forum, and the ruins of ancient cities can provide a tangible connection to the past. Walking the same streets, standing in the same forums, and gazing upon the same structures can evoke a sense of awe and understanding of the grandeur and complexity of the Roman Empire. Ancient coin collecting is another way to engage with history. Coins from the time of the Roman Empire are tangible artifacts that tell stories of the emperors, their reigns, and the socio-economic conditions of their times. Each coin is a piece of history, offering insights into the past and allowing collectors to hold a piece of antiquity in their hands. Thank you for watching. Our channel, known as the Renaissance Spirit, is dedicated to the pursuits of a just, equitable, and humanitarian world. Video topics encompass areas including history, politics, religion, personal development, society, culture, social and environmental justice, and other topics of liberal arts and sciences, including ancient Rome and the Roman Empire, which is a great comparison and contrast to the modern world. Topics perfect for the true modern polymath. The Renaissance ushered in a golden age and the pursuit of knowledge both lost to time and yet to be discovered. It gave birth to the Enlightenment and the Age of Reason. Embracing truth, knowledge, and an understanding and compassion for humanity and our shared history opens up the world to each of us, individually, and improves all of humanity, affording us the opportunity to be better stewards of the earth and to each other. The Renaissance spirit, more than just a philosophy or style, but a style for living, learning, growing, and thinking. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share. If you're looking to explore and experience what life has to offer, I'm sure you'll enjoy the other videos on my channel. Please peruse, and let me know in the comments what you get out of them and what other videos you'd like to see. But first, please take the quiz next to see if you're a Renaissance spirit. Live the Renaissance spirit.